After 4,500 years, the Great Sphinx finally gave up its biggest secret. In 2025, advanced muon scanners completed the most detailed scan ever done. What they found beneath those ancient paws shocked every expert in Egypt. The government immediately sealed off the area. 3 chambers appeared on the scans, but one chamber showed something that shouldn't exist. The discovery is so massive that officials are scared to announce it. What could make modern Egypt tremble at an ancient secret that's been waiting underground? Let's get into the background first. About 4,500 years ago, when Pharaoh Khafra ruled Egypt, something massive and mysterious was carved out of solid limestone. It became the Great Sphinx of Giza. It stretches 73 m long and stands 20 m high. But back then it didn't look the way it does now. It wasn't pale or sun-bleached. Its face had bright red paint and its headdress shimmered with blue and yellow colors. It must have looked incredible in the desert light, like a god watching over the rising sun. The Sphinx faces directly east, which wasn't a coincidence. The ancient Egyptians worshipped the sun and believed the pharaoh had divine power. So placing a creature with a lion's body and a human head to stare at the sunrise symbolized power, protection, and royalty. Most scholars agree the face resembles Khafra himself, so it may have been his image carved onto the statue to guard his pyramid. The lion's body stood for strength. The human face showed wisdom. Together it was the ultimate symbol of a king. But over time things changed. The Sphinx was damaged again and again. Its most famous injury is the missing nose. Many people think Napoleon's soldiers blew it off in the 1700s, but that's not true. Sketches from before Napoleon's time already show the Sphinx without a nose. The real story is even more surprising. In 1378, a man named Muhammad Sarim Aldar saw peasants making offerings to the Sphinx as if it were a god. In outrage, he chiseled off the nose himself to stop what he thought was idol worship. That act of destruction was recorded by the historian El-Makr, and it still shocks people to this day. Other parts were also lost. The ceremonial beard fell off long ago, and the cobra on the forehead disappeared too. But the Sphinx didn't just face damage. It was also forgotten. The desert slowly buried it in sand. By 400 BD, during the time of Thutmose, only its head was visible. One day, while still a prince, Thutmose fell asleep near it and had a strange dream. In it, the Sphinx spoke to him, promised that if he cleared the sand from its body, he would become king. When he woke up, Thutmose began digging. After he became pharaoh, he placed a stone tablet between the Sphinx's paws. That tablet still stands today. It's called the Dream Stele, and it proves that even 3,400 years ago, the Sphinx was already ancient and mysterious. But the sands didn't stay away for long. Over and over, they swallowed the statue again. One detail from Thutmose's tablet sparked even more questions. It shows the Sphinx sitting on what looks like a pedestal or small temple, maybe with a door. Some believe this was just artistic imagination, but others think it hints at something buried underneath. That image would go on to inspire centuries of treasure hunters and conspiracy theorists. One of the strangest things about the Sphinx is its shape. Its head looks too small for its giant body. Some people like John Anthony West and Robert Schull believe this means the Sphinx was even older than Khafra's time. They think it once had a lion's head and was later reshaped into a pharaoh's face. Others, like Egyptologist Mark Leonard, say the body was simply extended to cover a flaw in the stone. Still, the odd proportions continue to puzzle experts. It's one of the reasons why some people think the Sphinx was built thousands of years before the pyramids by a lost civilization. We no longer know. In 1817, a man named Giovanni Battista Caviglia led the first modern excavation of the Sphinx. With the help of 160 workers, he began digging out the statue from the sand. Until then, only the head and a bit of the neck were showing. Over time, he revealed the chest and front paws. That's when he made an amazing discovery. Between the paws, he found a small altar and the dream stele of Thutmose IV. There were also 2 granite tablets from the reign of Ramesses II. One of them now sits in the Laura Museum. Even stranger was a horned altar that had black scorch marks on it, like something had been burned there. This altar looked similar to ones described in the Bible, with 4 small horns at the corners. Scholars later said it came from the early 1st millennium BC. That means people were still worshipping at the Sphinx long after the time of Khafra, maybe even treating it as a local god. But Caviglia didn't find any tunnels or chambers. He looked hard, even clearing shafts in the body, but only natural cracks were uncovered. Sand kept pouring back into the pit, making work almost impossible. Rumors spread that the dig had brought a curse. Locals whispered that disturbing the Sphinx had angered ancient spirits. Caviglia gave up. In the 1850s, a man named Auguste Mariette, who founded the Cairo Museum, returned to the site. He cleared more sand and found an old Roman staircase leading down to the Sphinx. It had been built in the 1st century AD and was completely buried. Beneath it, he discovered the ruins of a temple from the Old Kingdom. This temple was believed to be part of Khafra's complex. Mariette also examined a shaft in the Sphinx's back. It was just a crack, but inside it he found burned wood that smelled of resin. Some thought it was from a coffin. Maybe someone had used the shaft as a makeshift tomb, but it wasn't built by the Sphinx's original creators. Still, that small discovery sparked new hopes that a burial chamber was hidden inside. In 1887, Gaston Maspero, a French engineer, fully exposed the Sphinx's base for the first time in nearly 2,000 years. Its full body was finally free, but no doors or tunnels were found, just cracks and a hole on the top of the head, which was likely used to attach a crown. Then came Emile Barrès in 1925. He worked on the Sphinx for over a decade. He cleared more sand and fixed weak parts of the statue. In 1926, he explored the crack in the Sphinx's back and sealed it with concrete to keep it from eroding further. He also sealed the hole in the head with a trapdoor. This made sense for protection, but he didn't talk much about what he saw inside. That silence gave rise to conspiracy theories. Some believed he found something secret and covered it up. Even workers on his team said they remembered seeing a tunnel near the Sphinx's hind quarters. When asked years later, they said it led downward and was later sealed. In 1980, archaeologists Zahi Hawass and Mark Lehner investigated that area and found only a dead end filled with water. By the late 1970s, the Sphinx had been studied top to bottom. No major secrets had been found, just the dream stele, the chapel, and some cracks. But people still hoped. In 1978, a team from Stanford Research Institute used